We've got the man with the answers right here at Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football, talking Miami each and every week with the Wholesome One. The Wholesome One Holloway. You can catch him right here on YouTube. Wholesome One, how you doing today?
Blessed to see another day, Mark. It's always a great one to talk about that. Canes, let's get to it.
This is what we do each and every week is we nail down a time with the Wholesome One. We bring him on. We review our previous videos and live streams to find your comments and your questions, and I deliver them right to the Wholesome One, and he answers them. Of course, we've got the live chat on, and so leave your comments and questions right there, and we will get to them. Of course, this is a bit of a dead spot between National Signing Day and spring football, so We'll toss around some fun questions. And again, if you've got some football questions of any sort, just leave them in the live chat, and I will search our comments over the last week and pass those along as well. But the reason we watch this stuff is because we enjoy it. It's entertainment, bottom line. Football is fun, and it's fun to watch. And over the course of gaining some attachment to a team, a program, of course, you're going to have favorites. So the Wholesome One, I would love to know, and you people play along in the live chat, your favorite Cane of all time.
Oh, man. All time. It's crazy. You prepare for the question, then it's actually brought to you. Oh, man. I think I'm going to go with someone like left field. I don't know if a lot of people look at him, but my favorite was Vince Wilfork. Big 7'5", man, because, being a bigger guy my entire life, it was crazy seeing a dude that was like 340 pounds moving that fast and just picking people up and throwing them. And he had the Uncle Gut hanging out of his jersey, but he still made a lot of plays. And, he was a 1-3 technique here at Miami and then moved to the Patriots and was probably maybe a Hall of Fame vote nose guard, one of the best nose guards of all time out of Vince Wilfork. So pretty big on Big Vince.
All right. We're going to move ahead to 2020. A lot of great additions to the roster this fall. Quincy Roche on defense, De'Ara King on offense. But, of course, you've got a number of guys that are sticking around that have made an impact. But, again, when you talk favorite, it doesn't have to be a great player. It can be just whoever hits you, whoever resonates. And Cam and I talked about this last weekend. Sometimes you have no choice of who your favorite is. It's like, man, it's almost like falling in love. You don't have a choice. It just happens to you.
It just happens to you.
So your favorite current Cane.
It's more of a 1A, 1B, but I'm gonna go with one. And that's Nasty Nestor Silvera, man. I've been huge on Nasty Nestor since his sophomore year at American Heritage. Just a guy that I would have loved to have been a Miami Hurricane, but I felt like he was going to be a Florida Gator because most of the best defensive linemen in the state of Florida all went to Gainesville. But he decided to stay home and come to Miami, man. And just because he had that old school vibe to him, he's a bull rusher, 6'1", 305, 308. He's not the biggest dude as far as tall, but he plays with good leverage and he just bully ball. And he had one move in high school and became a 4-star recruit off of one move, bull rush. You couldn't stop him. He actually scored a touchdown in the state championship game at American Heritage on a scoop and score and pulled away from the rest of the players. And it was just nice to see him translate some of that type of mentality to Miami. I'm just hoping that now he can be healthy and start having the production side of things. But he comes out with no gloves, tape on his fingers like I used to, and it's kind of a connection with him. He's one of my favorite players in college football and my favorite Miami Hurricane right now.
So Wholesome One, help me out from a defensive line standpoint. An effective bull rush obviously has to do with strength.
Correct.
It has to do with explosiveness because anytime, you don't have to be a scientist to understand that speed plus power equals just, you match those two things. So the quick step off the ball, but is it leverage as well?
Absolutely. Because it's one of the two things that happens. So your great bull rushers usually have their short and compressed because they can get up under pads and extend, Or you got your 6'5" guys to where you can't like grab them. You know, you have your Fletcher Coxes. His best move is a push pull swim or push pull rip because he's so long that he can just grab you and drive you back. But then you also have your Aaron Donalds of the world, who's 6 foot, and one of his best moves is either a quick swim or a bull rush because he can get up under you, get in those pads, and before you know it, you're knocked back as a guard, and you're trying to reach and grab for him, and he's already worked the move and moving past you. So it kind of works together, but you want all three of those things. You want the quick speed off the line of scrimmage, but leverage and hand placement. All three of those things, because you can try to bull rush somebody, and if you push them out here on the shoulder pads, it doesn't work right. You know, just like most people, if they do a bench press max, they use close grip instead of wide grip because you want to be able to come straight from the ground up and hit somebody in their chest plate and drive them back. If you have the wrong hand placement and your hands are out on the shoulder pads, it's not going to be the right amount of strength that you need. So it's that quick burst off the line of scrimmage, hit them in the chest plate and get that full extension and drive. And next thing you know, you're in the backfield.
We remind everyone to like, comment, share the videos out there on social media, and subscribe to Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football. And for more Miami content, you head on over to the Wholesome One, HOLSUM, and the number one for his Miami videos. And of course, the Super Chat's on, another way in which you can contribute. Wholesome One, are you familiar with our guy Tabardine?
Yes. Tabardine is
he's the most optimistic Miami fan around.
Yeah, he's the biggest Manny Diaz guy, and he's consistent, and he's winning the offseason right now. As far as he has some good points about missed field goals or inexperiences at some positions and lack of the quality coaching at some positions, and he has a lot of facts to back up his point on things. Now, saying he's the best head coach or best coach in college football right now, I'm going to have to unwholesomely disagree with you. But at the same time, I love having people that can present facts to what they're saying and how they can back up how they view things, because everyone has opinions. It's just what can you have evidence to back it up? And it's much respected. He comes on all of our channels and has nothing but the same argument each time. And every week he has more evidence to back it up and more research. So, hey, Tabardine, much love to you, man. And hopefully Manny Diaz improves to be the best here soon, because then that means Miami is succeeding.
Tabardine has also famously predicted Miami to win the ACC championship game 42-28. He has mentioned it and put it in the live chat so many times. I've memorized the score. I haven't had a choice. 42-28 over Clemson. I've got this one here, Wholesome One.
Yes, sir.
Gerald Williams commented the other day, and actually I was going to serve this one up to either you or Cam, because this crossed my mind as well. Why bring a spread offense and not recruit a dual threat quarterback, but offer these pro style quarterbacks? Although I think before you fully answer the question, Wholesome One, I think we need to understand that these recruiting services are forced to slot these guys either into dual threat or pro style. And in this day and age, we have much fewer guys that are going to be statues back there in the pocket. These guys just, even if they're not the most athletically gifted guy and quick of feet, they're going to work on that throughout high school and prepare themselves if they've got a big time arm. So that's Gerald Williams' question, just in regards to going after dual threat quarterbacks. My question is why we go after De'Ara King if we're not going to recruit quarterbacks like him.
I think that when you have that argument about dual threat or pro style in a spread, it's better to be one way than the other. If you're a pro style QB used to taking snaps from under center, it's a lot easier to now just, because you're from under center, you've done under. If you're pro style, you've done under center, you've done pistol, you've done shotgun. You've done all three of those things. Now, if you're just pure dual threat, meaning you've done majority of your time in either a pistol or a shotgun. If I were to recruit a pro style QB and bring him into a spread system, he has experience in all. Mark, you got me still?
I lost you there for a second. So back up about 10
Okay, yeah.
seconds.
No, you're good. When you have a pro style QB, there's going to be a time that we're going to be in the 5-yard line. You're going to have to be under center. So if you recruit someone, hey, how you doing, NCAA Young Kane? I've had a lot of people say, hey. So hey to everybody that's in the chat. Blessings to you. If you have someone that's used to doing it that way, that can do a 7-step, 9-step drop, and all you're doing is saying, well, all these things you were learning while you were in high school, now all I need you to do is sitting back at shotgun or sit in pistol and be able to just throw it all over the field. Now, the tough part is the reverse, because we don't know if we're going to stick to the spread the entire time of you being here. Unfortunately, it's really tough to keep the same coordinators or coaches, especially at Miami. And I think if we were to recruit a pro style, you can teach them either one. But if you recruit a dual threat, it's a lot harder to teach them to become pro style if we do switch to that system, and it makes the transition a lot simpler. So that would be my answer to the question.
A lot of people in the comment section as of the last few days commenting on their favorite players, and certainly here in the live chat as well. All time, the Wholesome One delivered. We got the Shoes with Jerome Brown, TJ Bird, Sean Taylor, Ian McAllister, Sean Taylor, obviously a popular choice right there. And the Shoes talking Melvin Bratton. And we will continue to get your favorite players all time and the current favorite Canes up on the screen. This, again, you probably heard us talking about this last week, Wholesome One with Cam, because of the nature of football being much different position to position than the other major sports, where a baseball player hits and fields regardless of position. A basketball player shoots, scores, dribbles, passes, rebounds. They all do the same thing. They do it to varying degrees depending on the position. But in football, to compare a left guard and an inside linebacker and a quarterback and a safety, in every position is so really the skill sets at corner, wide receiver, they're similar, running back, but what in terms of role and what they're asked to do, every position so different. I know this is an impossible question. But
I think I know where you're going.
Who's the greatest Cane of all time?
Whoa! Greatest Miami Hurricane of all time. I mean, most people would go with either one of the QBs. I mean, we have some pretty historic QBs. Also have some pretty historic running backs. Oh, man. I'm going to say Warren Sapp.
Wow.
I am going to say Warren Sapp. Because, in my opinion, Warren Sapp happened to be on some of those teams to where he was like, he played with some good players, but he was the guy on those teams. And he was next to impossible to stop on the interior. And yeah, eventually everyone's going to catch on that I did play defensive line. So my favorite current Cane is a defensive tackle. My favorite all-time Cane is a defensive tackle. In my opinion, the greatest Cane of all time is a defensive tackle. And yeah, I'm biased if you ask me, but the good thing, and just like Cam said on his answer, you have about 40 names to pick from, whatever you view as the best. For me, winning the Lombardi is huge, and to have Warren Sapp do that was big for me, and to go on to have an NFL, a great NFL Hall of Fame career, the best pass rushing 3 technique in NFL history to come from your school, the creator of the 99 club to come from your institution, even though he wore 76 at Miami, but he wore 99 for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Man, it just, maybe not the greatest person of all time, but you talk about him putting the tape on the fingers, getting after the QB, and then catching a couple wide right hurricane, as as they said when he played tight end with the Buccaneers, which is what he came to Miami as, and he got in and did a whole bunch of twerking in the end zone, but he was able to score some touchdowns and get after the QB. So for me, it has to be Warren Sapp, man.
And the college career and the NFL career is difficult to distinguish when you're looking back 10 or 20 years because either a great all-time college football player's career may get tainted based on failure in the NFL by certain people. But if you're asking strictly college, you should be able to say, we're not going to take into consideration the NFL, or vice versa. A lot of players, a lot less players are lesser in college, but somehow explode in the NFL. So the two names that come to mind would be Tim Tebow, obviously one of the great quarterbacks in the history of college football, one of the most accomplished, but didn't stay on the field for long as an NFL quarterback. And then on the flip side, Tom Brady, who was a decent college quarterback, then becomes arguably the greatest of all time as an NFL player.
Unarguably the greatest of all time.
What?
He's unarguably the greatest of all time.
We can't argue that at all? No argument?
TB12 is the GOAT.
He's the most accomplished quarterback of all time.
He's the GOAT.
I'm not necessarily going to say he's the greatest. I'm going to distinguish those two things.
Is that because he went to Michigan?
No, no. I'm distinguishing two things here.
I'm just messing with you, Mark. Everything is arguable, man.
He's got the most accolades.
Something is always going to be arguable to someone else. One thing is going to go over the other. Any and everything in life is arguable.
But it's tough to argue against 9 Super Bowls and 6 championships.
It is.
Now, I don't know what I'm getting myself into. So if I'm crossing a landmine or something here, Wholesome One, just do an answer and we'll move on. But Mark is saying, Wholesome, what do we have in common between number 21 and his favorite ice cream?
This is the light-skinned warrior Bubba Bolden thing that we talked about before, and they're trying to get me to say it. I'll say it, cookies and cream.
Okay. You explained that to me last week.
Oh, man, they love to get on me about that. That's the reason why I've actually pushed my safety breakdown, is because everybody's the whole comment section is gonna hit me with the cookies and cream, man. But it's good to have that interaction with your subscribers and with your with your fan base, and it's nice to be able to have that.
Absolutely.
Mr. Rubicon, howdy.
A lot of good responses from everyone on their all-time favorite Kane and their favorite current player. All right,
well, next comment, Mark. Get that off of there.
Yeah, somebody trolling a little bit there. Our guy Captain Trips. We always enjoy him jumping on, and I can have fun with all this because I've got no stake in the game right here.
Absolutely.
What game do you look back upon that brings a smile to your face more than any other game?
Actually, the time that I literally shed tears. So in 2017, fall of 2017 was my first semester as a transfer student here at North Dakota State. And it was that year that we went on that 2017 run. And for years, the Tallahassee, I don't even say their name, I call them Tallahassee. That rivalry, because throughout my entire adolescence, we hadn't beat them. 2009 through 2016, 7-year gap. 2 years of, what that would be, all of high school and the first 2 years of college. So my last year, 8th grade year, all the way through my second year of college, we had not beat these people. And it every time I saw their logo, it would just fill me with rage. And when we went into Tallahassee and beat those people, I was in Niskanen Apartments in Fargo, North Dakota, on the campus of North Dakota State University, sobbing on all fours. Sobbing. People were calling and checking on me. My phone was going off the hook. I was sobbing because we finally got over that hump. And I already have the answer for your next question, because it's not too far of a distance between both of those happening. But that 2017, getting that over our hump projected us into the Virginia Tech win, into the Notre Dame win, being able to have that happen to where Mark Richt really infused this program with that we can beat these people. They're not unbeatable. You know, we went almost 2 entire recruiting cycles without beating them. And when we did, I couldn't hold it. I was literally, Mark, sobbing tears, man. And now it still feels good to beat them. But that 2017 and 2018, those 2 years, but 2017 was the one for me. But those 2 years, man, tears of joy.
So what was your first year watching Miami football?
Well, I was born in 96, and that at that time I was Santa. Said it before. Don't like Santa a lot because
While we're waiting for the whole, there he is.
all right, I'm back.
You're
So,
back with us. So we're going back to your first year with the Canes, watching the Canes.
Okay, first year being at a game, I was maybe like 5 or 6 towards the end of Santana's career there at Miami. But so I would say that was like 99, 2000. But first year where I was getting into the Hurricanes and really studying them and watching them, I would say about 2009, 2010, that season was when I started following recruiting and getting to know these guys because, of course, I'm getting older. So then I was in school with guys who were eventually going to go there and sign there. So I would consider 2009, 2010 when I first started like really getting in on my Canes.
So Jordan Bowman is reminding us that we've got a Clemson live stream coming up tonight at 8:30. So for the first time, we've got a full hour of Clemson talk. So please join our live stream tonight here at 8:30 Eastern time, talking Clemson football. I've got 3 guests on the line for that.
See you in Charlotte.
Prior to that, Tallahassee live at 7 o'clock Eastern time tonight.
Talking about Mark.
Man, if you reel me into calling him that, that's, man, the Wholesome One's got some influence around here.
Tallahassee, let's go.
George, 850
I used to say Trailer Hassey, but that's a bit, I don't want to be that guy, so I just call him Tallahassee.
George 850 Kane on the line with a super chat contribution. We appreciate it, George, and I will get your post to the screen as soon as possible. So, George, thank you so much for that
Thank you, George.
What has been the move that's been made, whether that's a coaching move, a personnel move, down through the years that you really think has hurt this program, has really sent it off the rails for a period of time? Anything that you would love to be able to go back in history and say, man, if I could change that, if I could have hired this person or not hired him, or whatever that would be?
Well, going into the coaching fraternity, I have to be careful with going at coaches. So I just would say I wish the University of Miami, after Coach Randy Shannon was let go, I wish that the University of Miami would have taken a deeper look into who can project our program into the future. If you go look at that list, there was some pretty big names on that list that went on to do very well. Dan Mullen applied here, for the job twice, before Mark Richt and before Al Golden. And now he's doing big. He did pretty well at Mississippi State. At one point, they were number 1 in the nation last time I checked.
Yeah, in 2014.
Hell State, I had a cousin that played there, Brandon Holloway. Hell State is not like that. They're not a big time school. Blessings be to him for his career there, and he was a speedster. That's what we don't have in common. I was a strength guy. He's a speedster guy. But, Dan Mullen would have been a nice hire here at Miami. But if I were to go and pick a time, and I know other people have picked, Al Golden, other people have picked the change of the national championship against Ohio State. But for me, I would come a little bit more modern. And as much as I love Mark Richt and what he had done, I believe you hire Mario Cristobal at that time, coming off of the fieriness of leaving Alabama, 2-time national championship while being at Alabama, earned all of his bumps and bruises being the head coach at FIU, having to re-humble himself and go from a head coach to an assistant head coach here at Miami, and things didn't work out. Took the job at Alabama, was the connection in South Florida for a lot of the recruiters. Won Recruiter of the Year in 2015. I think it was all lined up to where if the University of Miami would have taken a step with Coach Mario Cristobal in 2016, things would have been completely different for the program. So if I can go back to that and change something, I would say, give me 2016 again and give me Mario Cristobal at Miami.
Got the Wholesome One on the line, and please join him on his YouTube channel, Wholesome One, HOLSUM, and the number one, Wholesome One Holloway, and the U family. Terrell James, he's a Tallahassee guy, but loves the Canes and says, "What's good, Mark and Wholesome Man? I live in Tallahassee, and these folks know we about to do damage. They talking about it a lot here."
Absolutely. So hopefully, I don't know if he's a Cane or if he's saying like they're going to do well in Tallahassee. But either way, Mike Norvell is a solid hire. I mean, he ain't someone that got me shaking in my boots. But at the same time, when that rivalry, hey, got to show up, got to play the game and see what happened.
Jordan reminding everyone to hit the like button. We appreciate it. It helps build the channel, of course. We got 86 strong on the line here.
Yeah.
Please tell your friends and family that we come here each and every week, and because of schedules, we can't lock down on a specific day and time each and every week, but we got the Wholesome One here for an hour to answer your Miami questions each week. So what you got to do is you got to subscribe to the channel, turn on the bell, you get the notification, you know when we're coming with live streams, including with the Wholesome One. We're talking Florida State at 7 o'clock Eastern time tonight and Clemson at 8:30. All right. Got a lot of Ed Reed consideration here as the greatest of all time, of course. Duke Johnson as a personal favorite of Andrew Pickett. Michael Irvin, the GOAT, according to Mr. Rubicon.
Playmaker. Yes, sir.
And like we were talking about the other night, and as you mentioned, Wholesome One, it's difficult to go wrong on about 40 different choices because there's just all-time NFL talent at every position.
Absolutely. And then like you were saying before, now the conversation is, are we talking about at just Miami, or are we talking about in their football career due to Miami? I mean, look, my favorite player of all time is Ray Lewis. I patterned the way that I played after him. But Ray Lewis was very good at Miami, but he became historically great in the NFL and took off in the NFL. And that's no disrespect to Ray Lou, but it's just the truth. He was good, but he became top 3 at his position, and he ain't 3 or 2 in the National Football League. Because remember, he was the 26th overall pick in the NFL draft. There were 3 linebackers picked before Ray Lewis. As you can tell, I've done a lot of research into Raymond Lewis, man. That's my love that guy. But I will admit, Mark, I was very close to saying Denzel Perryman. Denzel Perryman was played against him in high school when he was at Coral Gables and I was at American Senior High School. It was my freshman year and he was a senior. But I had to give it to Big Vince. But 1B would be Denzel Perryman for me personally. He was a guy who were very similar in size. He's probably about an inch taller than me, if that. Or we were very similar in size, and to see him have the ability to play Division I football motivated me to have my opportunity and know that it can be achieved.
A lot of people, once we brought up in terms of what we would want to change going back in time, a lot of people brought up stadium and facilities. I don't know that anything can be done there. People want a on-campus stadium. That's obviously going to be a major, major lift. Do you think the stadium situation hurts Miami?
Yes and no, Mark. To a certain extent, it's been something that we've all discussed here for probably 30 years. Everyone has that argument, and on-campus stadium, it gives the college feel, and I understand that, and I get that, and I respect that narrative. But Hard Rock Stadium is one of the best stadiums in college football. I mean, turn on the film of the 2017 Virginia Tech, 2017 Notre Dame, and you see a packed stadium. Literally, they were talking about this feels like the Orange Bowl. It's shaking in here. You can't hear yourself think in here. So Hard Rock Stadium is a great place to call home, to the point where the Super Bowl was just there a month ago. Where the Chiefs handle things, and the national championship game will be there next year in 2021. So Hard Rock Stadium is someplace that we're happy to have. It wasn't always like that. Sun Life used to just be those orange seats, nothing over the top, sun beaming straight down on your head. So I do understand where people have that argument. But yeah, it would have been nice to keep the Orange Bowl because it would have been something that would have just been the Miami Hurricanes place. But just do renovations to that stadium and things are better. So I do understand where people are coming from with that one. But for me, I would make better hires. But facilities are huge also because our strength and conditioning has been something that's needed to be modernized for a while now. Being able to bring in a high-class strength and conditioning, being able to bring in high-class or weight room, big-time weight rooms. Some places got double-stacked weight rooms, offense at the top, defense at the bottom, and you flip the next day. Or indoor practice facilities. Nowhere in the world Miami should only be a year into an indoor practice facility. So I do get other people's argument on that as far as the facilities, the weight rooms, and all that type of stuff. That's brand new to Miami within the last 4 years of them really getting the football area of the campus to another level.
Help us build the channel. We get the super chat available. And of course, the Wholesome One donates at least an hour of his time to our channel each and every week. So please join him on his channel, the Wholesome One, HOLSUM, the number one, Wholesome One, Holloway, the family over there. And of course, lock it in here at Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football. If you subscribe, you get the notifications. Then you would know that we've got Florida State live stream tonight at 7, Clemson at 8:30. We've got a big Thursday night with Alabama, Miami, and Florida at 6, 7, and 8 o'clock, and Ohio State at noon Eastern time on Friday. Bo Brownlaw, what are some teams you guys would like to see Miami play in the future?
Actually, that's an amazing question. I'm actually doing a live on that next week. So I'll give you a snippet and I'll go ahead and answer your question. Great question, Bo. I think every season I'm one of those guys to where I'm not really big on having those like marquee opening games of the year, having Alabama or having LSU or such and such every single season. But I will tell you this much. The team that I would say every single year the University of Miami should start with is the team in Gainesville, the University of Florida game.
You want to play that game every year?
For in-state rivalry, especially.
The Wholesome One's locked up, but I believe he's going to bounce back right now. There we go. So let me get this straight, Wholesome One. You want to play Florida in game one every year?
Every year. Every single year I want to play them. And I want it to be a home and home. We go there one year, they come down here the next year. And I think that'll be big, especially for them. I mean, they get to start the season with Miami and the season with Tallahassee. And then we actually get to have that conversation about state champions. So that would be huge in my opinion. So you get 4 out-of-state games, out-of-conference games, correct?
Yes.
For me, I would have Florida, UCF, Penn State, Nebraska. Old school rivalry with the last 2, in-state rivalry with the first 2.
So this is just for one particular season. You wouldn't be playing these teams every year.
Yeah, it wouldn't be no way to get that. But let's say if I could have done that for the 2020 season coming up, those would be the 4 teams I would play.
That's a rough non-conference schedule.
It's the University of Miami, Mark. That's what made Miami great when we were independent. We weren't scared to play all the best of the best.
Well, I understand, but when you're an independent, you don't play a conference schedule. Therefore, you do schedule difficult, just like Notre Dame does right now, but they still play their MAC school, their Navy, they play about 3 games that are still give-me's in a very difficult schedule. But my goodness, Nebraska, Penn State, UCF, and Florida.
Absolutely. I mean, some people would say it's not the smartest thing to do, but for me, Nebraska is one of those schools that I think our logos just look good playing each other. I think both games are really good. 2014 and 2015 when we played each other, they were good games. In my opinion, 2015 should have been a runaway blowout, but that 2014 night game in Nebraska, one of the historic best stadiums in college football history, absolutely. I'll take that twice on Sunday. And being able to play the Gators every single year, start the season out with them, how could you not be running hard in your 120s or lifting weights? We got the Gators to start it out. Why not? I mean, that's what you should be doing, period. But you know that they will skull drug us if we allow them to. So you might want to come and show up and show out first game of the season. UCF is an up-and-coming program, you know, and at one point you could have considered them a team that looked like Miami did early on, a small school that went and hit some of these big-time schools in the mouth. And that's what UCF did. They've earned my respect big time. And Penn State is one of those, especially since that letter came out about a year ago, I would love to play them. Just to let them know that there's a reason why we wear our hair that we do and we act the way and talk the way that we do. And that's perfectly fine. So that would be a personal thing for me.
So the angle I would take on this is I love the UCF matchup because I would just love to see them get their rotation or their round robin tour against the big boys within the state. Miami, Florida, Florida State. They haven't had an opportunity to play any of them. I would also go through recent, and when I mean recent, I'm talking like the last 30 years since Miami football has been great. So we're talking close to 40 years since the early 80s. And I would go back and go through all those major matchups from the past and kind of relive those. So you mentioned Nebraska. They would be on my list. Penn State, of course, the Fiesta Bowl from 86, the one that Penn State won the national championship. And I would kind of relive those. There were those classic matchups against Oklahoma that really helped Miami emerge as the program that they are based on knocking off Oklahoma. I would love to see maybe a home and home with Oklahoma, home and home with Nebraska, Penn State. There's a little history with Washington. Play them. Of course, there's a history with Notre Dame, and being in the ACC, you're going to play them anyway. So the ACC is going to determine that. Of course, there was the matchup against the Alabama Crimson Tide in the Sugar Bowl in '92. That lost the national championship, but that game has been scheduled and will be played. Those are the ones that come to mind that have a history.
There's a couple that I would love to always do a fantasy, and I think our histories are very aligned with University of Texas. I would love to do a home and home with Texas. And another big thing about it all is being able to have games in those areas. Now that we can start recruiting in those areas, you know, a lot of people love to have the Midwest linemen. Well, if, you know, one of the best offensive tackles in the country are in Nebraska, Lincoln, Nebraska, which is, it's kind of a fallacy because it's more of the development of those guys as opposed to just the high ranking of those guys. But everyone loves their Midwest linemen. They think every lineman from Wisconsin is going to be Tyler Decker, you know, and that's not how it always works. But just to be able to go into Lincoln, Nebraska and have a game up there in Nebraska. But for me, the second team would be USC. I would love a home and home with Texas and USC, especially the Trojans, man. To see that orange and green play the Cardinal and yellow,
Garnet and gold.
Oh,
no. That's Garnet.
Yeah,
that's Florida.
Tallahassee.
That's Tallahassee.
Yeah.
I don't know the official USC. I
think it's Cardinal and gold. I want to say, or something like that from NCAA. I think it's Cardinal and gold, their colors.
Okay.
But just to have that, you know, because we're gonna wear the white jerseys, probably gonna pull out the orange pants, black socks, and black cleats. Pull that out and play that, you know, in the stadium of stadiums, Trojan Stadium, the Coliseum. Oh man, absolutely. And both programs are eerily similar right now, basking in mediocrity. So it would be a closer game. Not saying we would beat them. by any means. I think that Miami, we have to really pull some things together and refocus before we start checking off W's on any schedule. But we would come to play against the USC Trojans. I think that would be a historic matchup. That if we could create, you know how like Clemson and Georgia kind of created a little mixed rivalry going on there.
Mm-hmm.
They're from different conferences, but I mean they do kind of play. They're geographically close. But if Miami were to do a home and home with USC, and people liked how it looked, because it would be a real big nostalgia feel to it, of two historically great programs linking up now. So I think that would be really cool to do that.
And you are correct on the colors for USC, the color scheme, cardinal and gold.
Boom!
Well done. Nailed it.
NCAA, baby. NCAA 14.
Guess South Florida is getting left out of your Florida round robin. They would have been considered at one point. South Florida was actually a better program 10 or 15 years ago than UCF.
And to be honest with you, Mark, when I don't want to seem like that guy, but when I do play NCAA, I always put Miami. I put all of the Florida teams in the same conference, because I think that you should be able to play every Division I school in the state of Florida. So just a quick breakdown, I would put every single one of them in the ACC Coastal. So we were forced to all play each other. And I think the last team we would add would be Georgia Tech, or one of those two. And I would schedule the Texas and the USC and things of that nature. But I think we should, in the state of Florida, if we're going to start really having that conversation about state champs, I think we all should play each other. But that would be tough, because I know Florida in their SEC schedule, I don't think they get a lot of non-conference games. They only get 3, correct?
3 non-conference games in which conference?
In the SEC, correct?
The SEC plays 4.
Oh, okay. So they play 4 non-conference.
Yeah, the Big Ten only plays 3.
Okay.
The Big Ten and the Pac-12 and the Big 12 all play 9 conference games, so they only play 3 non-conference.
Okay. So only us in the southeastern area play the 4 non-conference, right?
Yes.
Everyone else does 3. Okay. But it would be impossible for all of us to play each other with our schedules right now. But I think it would be great, especially financially, for the smaller institutions, for the FIUs, the FAUs, the UCFs, and the USFs to play the Big 3. I think that would be big. We're willing to schedule UAB and Wagner, but we won't schedule FAU and USF. That to me, that would just be cool to do. Home and home, give them a chance.
Jeff Lynn is a great supporter and contributor to our channel, and reminds us, I did not know about that, but it's all over the internet, that De'Aaron King posted about 4 days ago an emotional message in goodbye to his late father.
Yeah, it was brought up on my live yesterday. One of those things where, just out of respect for the family, just didn't want to use it. But at the end of the day, I just want to say, blessings and prayers to them and for that hardship. I mean, losing a parent is something you can't fathom, just like losing anyone close to you. You can't really fathom that. I can only imagine, but hopes and prayers are for the family to be able to have strength through that time of losing someone, especially like a leader as the father, head of the household. So hopefully the King family can keep pushing on through and realize that he is still behind them, still with them, and still pushing them forward.
Fragrance Place is going to serve up the much-needed question about the offensive line. So, Wholesome One, can you fix that O-line?
Believe offensive line can be schemed very well. I mean, when was the last time we've seen any West Virginia offensive lineman get drafted high? Any Oregon offensive lineman get drafted high?
Those are coming, though.
Oh, at Oregon, absolutely.
Yeah.
But I'm saying that just that type of scheme and that air raid spread type of thing, it really opens up to where the offensive linemen have a chance to really play and fight for 2.5, 3 seconds and get the ball out and it's gone. So that's the biggest thing for me is I think that Ritt Lashley's scheme is going to really help the offensive linemen. One of the biggest things is when FIU played the University of Miami this year. They were outmanned in the fronts, but they ran the ball all over us. Why? Because their scheme and the spread and how they attacked our defense. And so if you're able to really scheme X's and O's wise on the offensive side of the ball, you can really be outmanned. Somebody might be bigger, stronger, faster than you, but I can scheme and play chess instead of checkers and really get down the field and score points. And I think that that's what Coach Red Lashley is going to do. And not only will the offensive line improve, I think they'll actually become one of the better offensive lines in the ACC.
Do you put any stock in this S&P Plus, which has Miami at number 23, according to Dante Colon, number 23 in the preseason? Do you feel that they're right in that range nationally?
Nope. I don't think we deserve any preseason accolades, Mark. We do not deserve it until the University of Miami goes out and takes its respect back. I don't want to see any preseason hype, any of the hashtag this and let's do that and hop up and down this. Nope. No, go out there and prove that the University of Miami as a school, as a board of trustees, as the coaching staff, that they are focused on winning in the sport of football. Going out and winning 60-minute ball games. Not flashy postseason stuff, not flashy in-game stuff with rings and chains. Are you going to win football games? That's what Miami needs to get to.
Curveball. So I protect my guess. So I had no idea where curveball was going, but he's just back here to emphasize and confirm that, man, he understands my caution, but the Wholesome One is the best Miami YouTuber, period.
I think we all bring something different to the table, man. And that's the beautiful part about the University of Miami fan base and the University of Miami YouTubers. I think we all bring something great to the table. Thank you for that compliment, man. And I have to continuously update my resume. Every time I get in front of the camera, I have to continue to prove you correct. I think I do bring quality content, and I work really hard on doing that. And, blessings to you for giving me that. And for those who share that opinion, thank you.
Clemson alum 98. I appreciate the support right here as fans of the channel right here at Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football. And that's what I love about these live streams is that I get fans in from all sorts of fan bases, regardless of what the live stream topic is. And you guys just go at it and talk college football, and we all get educated on the team we're talking about. And it's Miami with the Wholesome One here each and every week, and we don't have a set day and time. Therefore, subscribe to the channel, get the notifications as long as you have that bell punched on the front page, and you're all set to know when we're going to go live with the Wholesome One each and every week. Had a question about the defensive line rotation, and I believe I lost it. Oh, we've got, would you be surprised if Quincy Roche doesn't start over Jalen Phillips?
What's up, Jalen? No, Jalen Phillips is a big-time recruit, big-time player at UCLA, man. He's a big-time, huge dude. Huge, fast off the line of scrimmage, strong. I mean, he's one of those guys that injury, and he had a big accident that he ended up breaking his wrist and wasn't able to, been recovering from that for well over a year. So he's kind of come back to full strength and put his body back together really well. But at the same time, I think every position needs to have healthy competition. And all of the men, no matter what position, even if it's De'Aaron King and N'Kosi Perry, of course, we all pencil in De'Aaron King as the starter. But at the same time, if he doesn't go out there and truly earn that, then we can't just be handing guys positions anymore. I speak about this a lot. Just handing Tracy Howard the starting cornerback job in 2013 because he was a 5-star and Larry Hope was a 3-star. What does that show to the team? We're just awarding things, or are people earning the opportunity to wear that U and to be on the football field and to play as hard as they can? That's the biggest thing, man. So for me, if Jalen Phillips comes out and beats Quincy Roche out, he better had balled, because Quincy Roche is, I think they had him as a top 100 pick this upcoming draft, and he decided to take that step up. And hopefully he has that KJ Osborne effect that we had on offense with us this year on defense, to where he takes that step up into the Power 5 and still shows up and shows out at this level. And it would be great for Miami's future if he does do that, because then we all know that Gregory Rousseau, the best defense in the country, Gregory Rousseau, will get the double team. So now other players need to step up, as far as John Ford at defensive tackle, Nasty Nesta at one technique, Jordan Miller at one technique, Jalira Holly at one technique, Blissett at three technique, and also Jalen Phillips as the other five, and Quincy Roche as the opposite five. All four positions, really three, because they're going to be playing opposite of Gregory Rousseau, but they're going to have an opportunity to step up because he's going to get the double and triple teams. So we need you to beat one-on-one blocks.
All right, everyone. We appreciate you jumping on the line. 125 on the line, which is the most we've had during the 55 minutes we've been here. So you know what that means. You've missed most of it. So what you need to do is wait just a few minutes for the video to process and post. It'll be front and center and video number one on my YouTube channel. So just to check it out again, since you've missed most of it. And we appreciate that when we do these live streams, regardless of the topic, the team, it seems as though we've got the most people on the line at the end of the live stream. So that means we're doing something right, because people just keep adding and not subtracting. And we cannot thank the Wholesome One enough. Man, I cannot thank you enough for the insight, the information, the knowledge, the passion, the energy, the vibe that you bring, and the loyalty to me and to Miami football each and every week, in donating your time to answer these questions and these comments and mix it up on Miami football. So we know you love to do it, but still you got 100 things going on. So Wholesome One, we appreciate you stopping by, and my gratitude to you for making this work for me.
Thank you, Mark. I truly appreciate it. Yeah, it's negative 27 degrees, so I don't have much to do outside. But being able to do this research and just regurgitate it, it's amazing. And especially being able to live up to the other Miami Hurricanes live on your channel when you talk to Cam Underwood, man. I just want to be able to make him proud, make Mark proud, that I can step in sometimes and talk for him, man. And thank you so much, Mark, for the opportunity. And Cam, hey, man. One of these days, we got to get on live together. One of these days. Have a great rest of your day, guys.
About to come out of my mouth. So a lot of people have commented in that direction in the live chat to get Cam and the Wholesome One on together. So we will make that happen here in the next couple months. Also,
absolutely
appreciate it.
No problem. Have a great rest of the day.
Right now to make Mark Rogers TV even bigger and better. Wholesome One, thank you so much. If you had any comments or questions that you wanted to get to the Wholesome One, please copy and paste those, leave those in the description section of any of the videos, and we will get to them hopefully by next week. We've got Florida State. I know the Boo course is coming. You know I'm the voice of college football, so we cover everyone. Florida State live tonight at 7 o'clock Eastern time. Miami fans, we invite you to jump in the live chat room for that. And, of course, our first edition of Clemson Tigers live tonight at 8:30 Eastern time. We've got Ohio State, Alabama, Florida, and our Miami live coming up later this week. So keep the notifications on for those dates and times. We appreciate you guys, and we will see you soon. 7 o'clock with Florida State Talk, Clemson at 8:30 Eastern time.